Hi, Jordan. I'm Christopher Gallardo with Pop Alternative. How are you doing today?
Hey, Christopher, couldn't be better. Day of premiere, talking to you, feeling good.
Yeah, it's awesome talking to you because this film was a lot and I just have to break it down for you. But first, realistically, out of the entire cast, who do you think would actually be able to survive that entire straightforward walk?
Yeah, I said in the beginning, Tut, and I will still stick to that. Tut is extremely tall and lanky, so he's got the legs, but he's also just he's just like he doesn't give up, man. He doesn't give up.
I absolutely love that. And honestly, I can see Tug going the entire walk too because his character is just cool, but I think that he's also really pure at heart, and I just love that.
Totally.
And going on, the one thing that makes you stand out from the entire cast is that you've actually read through the entire book to help you get into character. Was there anything that you personally added to Harky's personality from the novel that you think helped him stand out?
Yeah, there's a lot, as you know, like he's not in the book a whole ton. So there's a lot of framework for Harkness, but a lot of work had to be done to really elongate that for him to make it as long as he does it in the film. So me personally, I wrote in the journal on the walk as Harkness, the things that I was feeling, the things that I was seeing, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Francis and I in the beginning had a chat about, flowers and how to me that would be a great visual representation for Harkness. He's so pure and he's so earnest and he's so puppy dog and doesn't quite understand the gravity of the situation that he's gotten himself into. And he's also, representation for journalists. And journalists throughout war are peacekeepers and they're truth tellers. And so walking through Winnipeg and seeing all of these like dandelion flowers really resonated with Harkness for me in a sense that like he is all of those things. And so I put one in my jacket pocket. Um, and that flower exists with me and Harkness as we start to go. And as the flower starts to die, Harkness also starts to die. And like the thing and his earnestness and his innocence also goes as that goes and as he realizes that he is in the situation that he's in.
Absolutely love that experience for you. And since you brought up the journal and the flowers, was there anything that you specifically wrote in the journal that we didn't necessarily see on screen when you were walking that really just stuck with you throughout the entirety of your time filming?
I don't know if it's anything that you guys didn't see, but I mean, I can tell you that Roman's death, that first death, really stuck with me. I don't think we all knew like how visceral that was going to affect us in the moment. Um, but writing that down, Curly is the first to go, and of course it is the kid that goes first. And the feelings that I felt in that moment is page one, really, in chapter one in that book. There's the dead cow. I wrote about the dead cow in there. Lots about Barkovich, lots about Barkovich, because to me, Barkovich is so opposite of Harkness, um, and everything that Harkness doesn't stand for. Um, and so there's a lot of visually seeing, which by the way, Charlie is the perfect Barkovich, and I couldn't think of anyone else who could nail that performance like he did. And Charlie's a very kind person, so very different than Barkovich. Um, but yeah, like there's a lot of just about each of the characters and visually seeing what they saw and how that affected me in the moment and my feelings.
Mhm. Absolutely love that. And so, oppositely, was there the one element about Harkness that you knew that you really had to stay faithful to?
Yeah.
And working with Francis, was there any different interpretation of Harky that was proposed early on than that was somewhat different than before you actually started filming?
Yeah, I think, you know, you have to keep his earnestness. Like, in order for Harkness to work, he has to continue to be that sort of like so earnest that it's almost a little bit annoying to the other boys. Um, that to me was like the tent post of who he is. And so that could not change. Um, I think something that I also added was a twang to his voice.
Hmm.
Um, and originally, I th never mind, never mind. Um, yeah, but there was nothing that Francis was like, this has to stay this way. It was more of like a collaboration between us where he just trusted my instincts and knew the book, and I knew the book, and we hope that people agree that we did it a good job.
Mm, absolutely love it. And I love how you highlighted Harky's earnestness because before this, you embodied someone much differently, that being Ash from Pretty Little Liars. Even though that show and this film are completely different from each other, how do you think that bit of outgoingness and earnestness is present within both of these characters?
Totally. I mean, although they are so different, there's a lot of similarities in between the two. Um, Ash is a little bit harder, a little bit more of a rebel, a little bit more outspoken and vocal than Harkness is, but he's just as earnest and he's just, you know, wants to be loved by other people just as much as Harkness does. It just comes from two different places.
Yeah, I really love how you were able to create that personality, and I really love how it shows in the dynamic you have with with Cooper and David, because there are also so many sweet moments we get between Harky, Garrity, McBrides, and everyone else in that first act. So what was it like to sort of build that dynamic with Cooper and David, and how does that reflect through Harky's actions?
It was really cool, man. I mean, like getting to really all sharing the experience together is what really makes this movie so magical is the fact that we all had to walk the same amount until you get your ticket. We work the same amount of days. We work the same amount of hours. I mean, Francis is walking back with us. Like everyone is walking from top to bottom, and that truly like created this, okay, I've got you. Like we're all in this together sort of mentality that was really a fun thing to experience and lends itself to the film. And really, I think the only way that this thing could have been done and given itself justice. So I think from day one, we all were like, okay, we might not know what we've gotten ourselves into quite yet, but we've got each other's backs and we're going to get to know each other and we're going to be there for each other, which was really cool.
I absolutely love that answer. And sort of besides those more sweet moments, we also got so many death scenes that honestly left me speechless because I was wondering how they would execute those scenes, and the way they were executed just stunned me. So being in a lot of those moments for those scenes, as well as watching the film play out yourself, how did these moments transform your perspective of sort of approaching those more shocking sequences, as well as just being in those sequences as well?
I mean, again, like you can't you think you can prepare for it and then you get there and you see it and you can't. And I think a really cool thing is that we all wanted to like up it. So it's like we see Romans, we're like, okay, all right, that was fantastic. How can I personalize and like elevate in my own death? And so we would have like these conversations where like everyone would like keep everything like kind of to themselves about their own deaths, about like what we're gonna do. And so we would surprise each other, which was a lot of fun too. But yeah, it's a hard thing to watch. And like each of the deaths are so different. And the emotion in each of the deaths are so different, which is a extremely hard thing to do and accomplish. When you're killing off 49 boys, most of them being on screen that you can see, you do have to make it different and come from different places in order for the audience to still be engaged. And so I truthfully give that all up to Francis and JT, and Stephen King, and staying truthful and honest to the original interpretation and adapting it in a way that was an honor to do. And yeah, it's just I hope everyone enjoys watching everyone die in really cool and interesting ways.
Yeah, it was. Oh, it's shocking, but I'm surprised they were just able to bring it back, bring it to the big screen in the first place. Because
You and me
the way
both.
that people were describing it being unfilmable was just, it was crazy. But
Yeah.
outside of the long walk, I hear you're planning to produce and direct your own work soon. So throughout your time filming, what was the wisdom that you gained from Francis Lawrence, and how do you think you'll apply that in what you're working on now?
Yeah, I mean, just watching him work is such an incredible gift. And him offering, words of wisdom to me and trying to tackle directing is something that I will keep forever. And I had the same experience on PLL where it was I would go and shadow our directors and they would just let me watch and learn. And so I've been really lucky to learn and see from a lot of incredible directors. And I'm just really excited to get behind the camera and tell stories that I want to tell and in my own way and my own flair and find my own artistic flair behind the lens.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you're working on next. And I'm very excited for everyone to see this film. But Jordan, it's been an honor talking with you today. And I really hope that you have a wonderful day again. Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, thank you, Christopher. I appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.